moves on after the amount of time that you've got for the task, but there are quite a number of each task, even though there are only 5 types of task. Okay, grab your phone. Why? Because you want to record yourself doing some of this stuff so you can play it back as well. Hey guys, can you read over this vocabulary that you're going to hear today? So read it out loud, get your eyes going, get your tongues going, read out loud on yours what you can see on the screen. Okay. Giggle, a giggle to giggle, giggling, disinfectant, infected, disinfect. Keep reading, guys, because there's a bit more time. There's quite a lot involved in this list. Noun, thing, verb, action, description, adjective, and a common collocation. Okay, can you match the words on the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the letters on the right? Work quickly. It says 30 seconds, but I'm going to give you about a minute. So match 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with A, B, C, D, E. In the chat box, away we go. Okay, a bit more time. Yep, another 30 seconds. Okay, have a look at some answers. To binge, to overindulge, contagious, easily spread, to scrape, to remove something from a surface, to vocalize, to speak, and to disinfect, to remove germs. Okay, read aloud. How do we do it? Well, we've got the tasks due here. What we're going to do is read it at a moderate pace. We're going to read phrases, articles, adjectives, nouns, pause appropriately at the comma and stop at the full stop, and create meaning from the words that we see in front of us. We're creating meaning for our listener, and it takes practice. Don't hesitate. Don't pause for more than 3 seconds. Hesitate by going or ah. Just don't or ah. Don't correct yourself. Don't add, omit, or replace words. Don't read too quickly. You'll be marked on content, fluency, and pronunciation. And there'll be a number of these in each test. And you'll be given 35 seconds to 40 seconds to prepare and then to read. Here we go. 40 seconds to prepare and then 40 seconds to read. Time starts now. Right, we're used to the words. We know what we're going to talk about. Read aloud. Time starts now. All right. Now, how does it work? Well, in English, there's even what we've got is known as word is stress. So it's time stressed across English. So we're noticing there's an even pattern of stress across the way that the words present themselves, or the way that we speak, because we hit content words, which are nouns, main verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. So adjectives, nouns, verbs, and adverbs are the words that we stress. And we pause at the comma and we stop at the full stop. So let's listen to a model reading.
As far as protecting yourself against Alzheimer's disease, well, fish oil has the effect of reducing your risk for Alzheimer's disease. You should also keep your blood pressure down, because chronic high blood pressure is the biggest single risk factor for Alzheimer's disease. It's also the biggest risk factor for glaucoma, which is just Alzheimer's disease of the eye.
Okay, so adjectives, nouns, verbs, and adverbs are being hit, pausing at the comma and stopping at the full.
As far as protect, as far as protect.
Sorry, we're marked on content, the words, fluency, non-hesitating, and pronunciation. Let's do another one. 40 seconds to prepare and 40 seconds to read aloud. Time starts now. And here we go, getting ready to read aloud. Okay, let's listen to a model answer.
When people feel playful, they giggle and laugh, making others around them want to play too. Researchers have found that the kea parrot from New Zealand has a play call with a similarly powerful influence. When other kea hear the call, they become playful. Kea are the first known non-mammal to have such an emotionally contagious vocalization.
Okay, so whatever we're reading, we hit noun, adverb, verb, or verb, adverb, verb, verb, noun, verb, noun, verb, adjective, noun, 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 nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Okay, that's the clue. Content, fluency and pronunciation, hit the nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, maintain fluency, and keep pronunciation clear. Repeat sentence. What do? Well, we listen for phrases, usually the overall meaning. Listen to the way the speaker says the sentences, and then speak clearly and naturally. Aim to say the sentences in a similar way to the speaker. Don't correct yourself. If you make a mistake, just keep going, and you'll be marked again for content, fluency, and pronunciation. So, focus, listen, and repeat. Here's the first one.
Contact your tutor by email if you have any questions.
I'm going to play that again because it came very quickly. So here it is.
Contact your tutor by email if you have any questions.
I think that recording was a bit unclear. Contact your tutor by email if you have any questions.
Contact your tutor by email if you have any questions.
Okay, we've got to make sense of what we hear as best as we can. 3 for content, so 50% or more, you'll be getting 2, 100% you'll be getting 3. Let's have a look at the second one. There it is, but let's listen. Students are requested to submit their questions in the online forum. Students are requested to submit their questions in the online forum. And the third one, listening, sometimes we close our eyes.
A guest speaker will be giving the lecture in the new building across the road tomorrow evening.
How did we go?
A guest speaker will be giving the lecture in the new building across the road tomorrow evening.
Okay, so we hear it in phrases. A guest speaker will be giving the lecture in a new building across the road tomorrow evening.
A guest speaker will be giving the lecture in the new building across the road tomorrow evening.
Yep, cool. All right, now what you're aiming for is the words the speaker said, but failing that, 50% of them will get you 2 out of 3. So speaking, content, pronunciation, and fluency is what you're aiming for. Describe image. Remember this one, we've seen it before. Look at the x-axis, look at the title, look at the x-axis, state them, summarize them, then give low point, high point, and one other, the body, and then conclusion, predict or give a reason or summarize what we see in front of us. It's a great skill. Let's have a look. The flow chart here shows the process of sink dishwashing, title. Then we're going to mention something that happens after or before and then next. So we're sequencing the ideas. We're using passive tenses, are scraped, are placed in, are rinsed, are disinfected, are drained. And then we're looking at ordering it like this. So if we have an image like this, I'm just going to brainstorm some more vocab here. Good one, Pachu. Okay. Yep. All right. So have a look at, we're brainstorming vocab here for this kind of image. Now, this image is a flow chart. Yep. So we're thinking what comes next. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, finally, as a result, often, next. Now we're doing that. We're sequencing ideas. Yep. Into something that sounds like this.
The image shows the process for sink dishwashing. The process begins with scraped dishes and ends with them being drained. After being scraped, the dishes are washed in warm water with dishwashing soap. Then they are rinsed in clear water at a temperature of 43 degrees or higher. Next, they are disinfected for 45 seconds using a bleach before finally being drained. In conclusion, a possible reason for this detailed process may be to minimize bacteria in commercial food premises.
Okay, makes sense, doesn't it? All right, let's try something similar. We're going to structure it with an introduction, title x-axis, low point, high point, one other, and a conclusion. Are you ready? Okay, here's the process. 25 seconds to prepare, then 40 seconds to read aloud. Good work, guys. Here we go. Okay, getting good at it? Okay, all right. Let's keep cracking on. Let's listen to the sample answer. So listen to the model answer reading while we listen to the audio. Yep, so. Okay, now so we want to improve into, yeah, feeling quite good. So let's listen to this. The flow chart shows cocoa bean processing. The process begins with dried and fermented beans and ends with 4 possible products, which are nibs, chocolate liqueur, cocoa butter, and chocolate powder. After drying and fermenting, the beans are shipped to factories and blended. Next, they are cleaned and cracked, at which stage nibs are created. The remaining cracked beans are roasted and then some are used for chocolate liqueur. The remaining product is ground and pressed, at which point some of it becomes cocoa butter. Once it is pressed, it is ground, cooled and tempered before being transformed into cocoa powder. In conclusion, the process from bean to marketable product appears relatively simple. That's right. So I am giving the model answer there, but what I've done is gone through the process from beginning, middle section and end with a conclusion. Let's try something that looks like this. Well, in fact, that's the only practice task. So what I might do is just recognize that that's the introduction. The flow chart shows cocoa bean processing. That's all the information we could get there. The process begins with, yep, after drying and fermenting, the beans are shipped to factories. Next, they are cleaned and cracked. So just going through the sequence here with the time that we've got, then they're roasted, ground, pressed, finally they are press caked and create cocoa butter. In conclusion, the process appears to make a marketable product from the cocoa beans. Flowcharts are easy. They are if we get good at it. Yeah, good work, Pachu. Okay, now we're going to try the other difficult challenge, which is retell lecture. So in this case, what we do is we look at the image, we listen and take notes. Now, retell lecture, same as summarized spoken text in listening, DMD, TDS. So let's have a look at it. DMD, TDS. So on our pad, which we've got in front of us, we write down the letters DMD, TDS. We're going to use the structure was discussing, mentioned, described, talked about, discussed, suggested that. DMD, TDS. And then from our notes and memory, we put into our framework the phrases that we recognize we heard. So what was the framework? Was discussing, mentioned, described, talked about, discussed, suggested that. So take a screenshot, write it out 15 or 20 times, memorize it, and we're going to use it. So first of all, we're going to practice note taking. So look at the image on the left. What is the discussion going to be about? Then we listen to the sound file and understand, and then we note down 6 to 8 keywords. Then we're able to retell the lecture from our keywords. Yep. So we imagine what we've just listened, and you can imagine retelling the lecture just from our notes. Okay, ready to listen and take notes? Look at the image on the left. We write on our pad DMD TDS and we listen and take notes. Here we go.
Some of you may believe that the poor should be held responsible for their own mistakes, and others may argue that we should help them to make better decisions. But the underlying assumption is the same. There's something wrong with them. If we could just change them, if we could just teach them how to live their lives, if they would only listen. And to be honest, this was what I thought for a long time. It was only a few years ago that I discovered that everything I thought I knew about poverty was wrong.
Okay, all right. Now, from our notes, what we end up being able to do is to notes that are something like this, yeah? Okay, so we're taking short notes of what was said beside our letters DMD, TDS. So the speaker was discussing poverty. He mentioned that, and then we go through our list, DMD, TDS. Yep, so our sample answer might be this.
The speaker was discussing poverty. He mentioned that some people think that the poor are responsible for their own poverty, and he described how many of us feel that we should help them to make better decisions. Then he talked about how the underlying assumption here is that there's something wrong with them, and he discussed how many of us feel that we should teach them how to do things correctly. Finally, he suggested that he used to think that too, but in fact, that's completely wrong.
Okay, now we're going to do a full re-lecture. Yep, look at the image, write DMD TDS down the page, take notes, and then retell lecture in the 40 seconds. Let's get good at it. Here we go. All righty. Let's get stuck in.
Psychologists classify eaters into two groups: those who rely on their hunger and those who try to control their eating through willpower, like most dieters. Now, let's call them intuitive eaters and controlled eaters. The interesting thing is that intuitive eaters are less likely to be overweight, and they spend less time thinking about food. Controlled eaters are more vulnerable to overeating in response to advertising, supersizing, and the all-you-can-eat buffet. And a small indulgence, like eating one scoop of ice cream, is more likely to lead to a food binge in controlled eaters. Children are especially vulnerable to this cycle of dieting and then binging. Several long-term studies have shown that girls who diet in their early teenage years are 3 times more likely to become overweight 5 years later, even if they started at a normal weight. And all of these studies found that the same factors that predicted weight gain also predicted the development of eating disorders.
Okay, all right. Here's a sample answer. Let's read through, taking notes from what was said and putting them into our framework. Here we go. The speaker was discussing 2 kinds of eaters. Firstly, she mentioned that there are intuitive eaters and there are those who deliberately control their eating, like dieters. She discussed how controlled eaters are more influenced by advertising. Then she described how children are at risk of a diet and binge cycle. She talked about how teenage girls who diet are more likely to be overweight in the future. Finally, she suggested that both weight gain and eating disorders can be predicted by teenage eating patterns. Okay, so we sequence our notes in the order of DMD TDS. Yep, and get good at it. Cool. All right, 5, 5, 5, 5 for content, 5 for fluency, 5 for pronunciation. Now, answer short question. What do? We listen, we focus on what's being said, we give a response in 1 or 2 words only. It's only a short question. So let's see if we can do it. Yep, answer short question. Here we go. There's the answer. Let's listen first.
If you mixed yellow and blue together, what color would be produced?
The answer, of course, is green.
If you mixed yellow and blue together, what color would be produced?
Green. Okay, we speak it out loud. Here's the next one.
What is the generic name for a tradesperson who bakes bread for a living?
Yep, our answer, we know it. Baker or a baker.
What is the generic name for a tradesperson who bakes bread for a living?
And the third one.
What do you call a piece of jewelry that women wear around their neck?
The answer, of course. You got it, guys.
What do you call a piece of jewelry that women wear around their neck?
Okay, now all of that was out of 102. Yep. So what you want to do is score as best as you can. Now you're going to set your goal for 50, 65, 79, 90. In a test like this that we've just done, if you got roughly 90 out of 102, you'd be getting 79 on test day. Yep, roughly 65, roughly 74 out of 102, you'd be getting 65, 57 getting 50. So the idea is we get better and better at it. And we're aiming getting closer to 90. How to improve? Learn be good, accurate with your content, accurate with your pronunciation, and accurate with your oral fluency. Practice from the platform, practice each task, practice the skills for each task, attend the live classes and the mock tests, and upgrade so you've got a one-to-one tutorial. And of course, turn up to our PTE group classes where you'll be given expert advice by the teachers. Thanks for joining us. I'm hoping that was helpful. You guys are on the road to success. So thank you, Bahar. Keep practicing, keep working hard. Yep. That's right. Most of the topics are science-based or academic-based. It's an academic test. Thank you. On the road to success. Well done. Keep cheering each other along. Keep working hard, finding the energy to keep going forward, setting goals and moving towards them. Great to have you here. And I look forward to seeing you later on in the week in other classes. Remember, today is, of course, today is Wednesday. Wow, the week is already Wednesday. Tomorrow night, we've got skills classes as well. So see you that, and then we're heading towards the weekend again. So good luck, guys. Stay on track.